Hello and welcome to my channel, Talisman Tarot. In this reading I want to ask the cards and Spirit directly through channeling about how your mother perceives you, and I have 4 groups here that you can choose from. This will be group number 1, this will be group number 2, this will be group number 3, and this will be group number 4. And so I will ask you to use your intuition and choose the group that speaks to you the most, the group that catches your eye, and that group will be your group. And if you need any more time to choose, you can just pause the video, but if you don't need any more time, then just head down to the description box below and find the timestamp for your particular group and click on that, and your reading should appear in front of you. And while you're down there in the description box below, make sure to check out my guide on how to book a personal reading from me. I love doing personal readings for you guys. It's always a pleasure. So please check that out. And yeah. But let's focus on this reading right now. Tune in, use your intuition, choose the tarot deck that speaks to you the most, and I'll see you in your reading. Hello, group number 1, you chose this Tarot of Mermaids tarot deck, this deck right here. And I'm going to start with some channeling and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 1, the people who will choose group number 1? How does group number 1's mother perceive group number 1? Okay, so first of all, I feel like your mother is maybe slightly judgmental, or she might have a tendency to look at the negative side of things, like not necessarily the most optimistic person in the world. And so her perception of you is maybe, like, it's not negative at all. I feel like your mother perceives you as as someone who's very good at what you do. Like, you're good at the things that you put your mind to, and I think she is proud of you. But there are certain things that she might want you to do differently. Like, she might be a little bit critical, and she might feel like sometimes she gives you really good advice and you don't follow it, and then she gets angry with you because you don't follow her advice, because like in her mind it's like it's her way or the highway. Like, she feels like her advice, her opinion on things is the right opinion, and her advice is the best advice in the world. And so for you to not listen to her when she tells you what to do, it just doesn't make sense to her. Like, she feels like you should be listening, you should be following whatever you say. Like, you should be just accepting that is the only truth, and that is the only way to do things. And I think there might have been something where you were true to yourself and you believed very much in something that you wanted to do. And I feel like for some of you it has to do with social media, like maybe some of you have chosen to post some videos on YouTube, or maybe you have started an Instagram account where you post pictures of different outfits or training videos or something like that, and I think she didn't believe in it at first. Like, she felt like that was a bad idea, like that she doesn't really understand the need to be in front of a camera. She feels like that's like attention seeking, and that only like a very specific type of person wants to go down that path. And I think your mother felt like you were not that type of person, that you were better than that. And so I think she was disappointed when you chose to just do it anyways. And I think she's a very private person too, your mother. I think your mother feels like everybody should be a little bit private, that everybody should keep things, like keep everything to themselves, not show too many pictures, not put too many things up on social media. That I think and I don't even know if she follows her own advice. I don't know if she's the type of person who actually posts a lot of pictures on Facebook, like family pictures and pictures of her, like pictures of her grandchildren and stuff like that. But I think she might feel like that's a completely different thing. Like, and yeah, I think. But I think she has realized now that maybe she was a little bit wrong. I don't think she would ever admit it, like completely. I think it's something that's hard for her to admit. But I think she knows that maybe she was a little bit judgmental, and maybe she didn't really realize what it was. Like, I think she had an opinion about whatever you do, like, or I don't know if you do YouTube as a career path or like something like that. I know that this probably won't resonate with all of you, but I feel like many of you are YouTubers, and so I'm just gonna stay on that track. And of course, I know that those of you where this does not make sense, then it might not be YouTube, but it might be something that you have chosen as a career path that your mother didn't believe was a real career before. Like, she didn't really know what it was. She thought it was something that would just like disappear, like that it was just like a day fly, like something that would just that something that's big now but it will disappear in the future or something like that. And I think she thought it was just a temporary thing, and that it was just a wave, and that wave would just disappear out in the horizon. And I think she now knows that it wasn't a day fly. It wasn't something that just like, it wasn't just a trend. Like, it wasn't just a phase or something. Like, that it's actually something that's here to stay. And I think she has realized that now. So now she knows that maybe she was a bit quick to jump to conclusions. But I think she justifies her own judgment by telling herself that she didn't know better. Like, she didn't know what it was. Like, so yeah, she said something bad about it at some point, and this might have discouraged you and made you angry that she didn't believe in you. But it wasn't that she didn't believe in you. It was just that, at least in her mind, she feels like she just didn't really get what it was. Like, she didn't understand what it was all about. But yeah. But I think she might owe you an apology, but I think she... I don't think your mother is the type of person who is very good at apologizing. So I don't know if she would be so keen on giving you one. But I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about how your mother perceives you. With the Lovers here reversed, I think your mother perceives you as well, she might perceive you as someone who hasn't yet found love, or that you have been unlucky in love, unlucky in finding a romantic partner. Maybe she also feels like maybe you've chosen some bad partners in the past, and maybe she feels partially to blame for that, even though I don't think she would admit that. But I think she feels a little bit bad about maybe some of the people. I don't know why she feels involved in this, like why she feels like it's maybe on her. But it might be because she might have rooted you on, like maybe told you that, like maybe she hyped you in the wrong direction, like told you, like if you started dating somebody who was a complete tool, and maybe you knew, and maybe you even told your mother some of the bad things that this person had done, and or something like that, and maybe your mother was like, well, but this person seems cute, like, or like maybe she was like, maybe she said something a little bit a little bit problematic. Like maybe she said like that maybe you should keep dating this person because it could be a fun experience for you, or something like that, or like that that maybe it could be something you could end up writing about, like when you write your autobiography in the future, then it might be interesting to be able to say that you dated somebody who was like a criminal or something. I don't know, it seems a little bit weird to have that sort of point of view, but I think maybe she said something that caused you to maybe stay in a toxic relationship because your mother seemed to be okay with it, and your mother seemed to actually want you to stay in it, like, and so maybe she feels partially to blame for you staying in that toxic relationship and not getting out of it earlier. Like maybe she feels like maybe if she had been a good mother, she would have probably told you to stop dating this person. Like, and she realizes that now, that she might not have been very sensitive and might not really have had your best interest at heart. So with the Magician reversed, I think your mother perceives you as someone who has chosen one thing instead of, like I feel like your mother feels like you can do a lot of different things, and I think your mother was kind of maybe the type of person who wanted you to try different things when you were younger, like try out different sports, and maybe your mother even forced you to go to like one sport, and I think she might have been very proud that you were very good at it. But I don't think she necessarily listened to you when you said that you didn't want to go, or something like that. And so maybe she wasn't really very aware of how you felt about it. I think she might have just been focused on like having that child who goes to football or soccer, or every Sunday, and like that it's like this thing for her to feel like, or that she felt like it made her a good mother. She felt like a good mother when she did that, but like when she pushed you to go. And she might have also pushed you to do other things as well. And maybe she feels now that that you have all these talents that she helped you to find, or she helped you build up some skills when you were younger, like when you were still under her roof. But I think she feels like now you're just focused on one thing, and it might not even have been the thing that she taught you to do, or that she pushed you to go to. And I think she feels like now you've just found your thing, and she did not have she did not have any part in that thing. It's completely new to her, and she never realized that this was anything you were interested in. And she feels maybe a little bit maybe she feels slightly stupid for not realizing that this was something that you have been interested in for a long time. Like maybe you told your mother that this is not just something that you have recently discovered, it's something that you've been interested in since you were a child. Your mother just didn't notice, and maybe your mother feels a little bit ashamed or a little bit embarrassed for not noticing that this was actually something that you were very interested in. And so instead of admitting that, she would just act like you're just making it up. Like that was not something you were interested in when you were 10. Like she would have known if you were interested in that. And this could have to do with psychic abilities or something like that. Like if you told your mother that you have been psychic since you were a child, your mother might feel like, no, you weren't. If you were psychic as a child, she would have been the first to know, or that's how she feels. But the fact is that your mother was so preoccupied in trying to fit you into her idea of who you were, that she never really noticed who you actually were as an individual separated from herself. So she was outliving her own dreams through you, and she might have felt like her mother never made her play any sports or made her play any instruments. Like she might have been angry with her own mother for not helping her develop a skill in music or in sports. And so she might have forced you to do both, like both learn an instrument and learn sports, and maybe even a third thing, like get into Girl Scouts or something like that, or even more, like multiple things. But that was just her own, like her own agenda, trying to be better than her own mother. and kind of failing in that attempt because she was so preoccupied that she didn't really notice you. She didn't see you. And so now that she feels like, no, you can't have been psychic, because then she would have known. I think she just feels like she might have slept a little bit in class, like she clearly wasn't noticing enough of what was going on. And so I think she's just trying to save her own ass by kind of saying that that she would have known. And it's also her own way of like trying to make herself feel better. But it's kind of creating trauma for you over and over again. Like by her now, like first of all, she didn't notice you when you were younger, or she didn't notice who you were, and now she doesn't notice you either, because now you're telling her who you are, and she still doesn't want to acknowledge who you actually who you are. So yeah, and I think she feels a little bit disappointed that all her efforts on trying to push you to maybe become a singer, or push you to become like a big sports star, or like that, this has all just been in vain, because now it seems like you just want to do your thing, and she just feels like now that it was all just for nothing. But again, it's like it was just her dream. Like it wasn't your dream to begin with, and so yeah. With the Six of Swords reversed, I think your mother feels like you recently, or maybe within the last few years, you've chosen a path that's hard, that's a little bit stormy. Like this is about going from like when it's upright, when the Six of Swords is upright, it's about going from stormy waters into calmer waters, and then like when it's reversed, it's about sailing from calm waters to stormy waters. And I think she feels like your life was maybe a little bit easier when you were just doing what she wanted you to do. And now that you're breaking free and doing your own thing, she feels like this is 10 times harder than if you had just listened to her advice. But I think, like as I said in the beginning, like I feel like she's actually starting to realize that you're doing something. Like I think it has very recently dawned upon her that it's actually very like very impressive that you are choosing to do something harder, something that is more difficult, something where you're outside your own comfort zone, that she's realizing that this is actually quite honorable, that you're doing this and that you're hanging in there and not just giving up. And I think she feels like she raised her children to become tough and not, or that's how she feels as, like, I think she feels like that was how she was as a mother. And I think she just realizes now that she actually has made you tough, because you seem to want to be in a high stress situation where you're doing something that is difficult, instead of choosing something easy with very low stress involved, and so I think she is actually starting to become proud of you, not necessarily because of what you, like the specifics of what you do, because I think she still might have a hard time really understanding what it is. Even though she's starting to learn, I think she still hasn't really figured it out, like what it actually is. But I think she's proud of the fact that you're actually putting in a lot of effort, putting in a lot of time to make this happen, and that you seem very consistent in making it happen, and that you're not giving up. Because if there's something your mother doesn't like, it's people who give up, and I think she's actually proud that you don't. And that is also with the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands is about defending your territory, and I think she feels kind of proud that you're defending your territory, even though she might not have liked it in the beginning. Like, she didn't like the fact that you were doing something against her will, something that she had recommended you not to do. But I think, like, now she realizes that this is important for you, because you defend it, and like, whenever she says something about it, you defend it. You don't just speak. You don't cave in and speak ill about it just because she is speaking ill about it. You always defend it. And I think she sees you as very tough and very stubborn, and I think she realizes that she has nothing to say, that even like whatever she says to you, she knows that you're gonna make your own decision. You're not gonna listen to her. And I think she is starting to become, like, okay with that. Like, she's starting to realize that it's actually quite impressive that you don't cave in. Because, like, I don't know if you have other siblings, but I feel like if you have an older sibling, that sibling was maybe more keen on just doing what he or she was supposed to do. Like, just did everything by the book and didn't take many chances in life. Maybe just did things very very much by the book. And I think your mother feels like she had that sibling, like, wrapped around her finger. Like, she could make that sibling do anything, and she could give that sibling advice, and that sibling would just follow through with that advice and just do whatever she said. And she knows that you're different. And I think at first she was a little bit annoyed because she's not used to her, like, because there might have been a child before you, like your older sibling, if you have one. He or she was so different from you, and so she like, your mother had that experience first, and so your mother thought that this experience with you, like, raising you, would be exactly the same. And so she just learned that it ended up being very different. She was a little bit annoyed with that at first, a little bit frustrated that you didn't just do everything that she told you to do. But now she realizes that I think she actually would consider you to be her tough child, like the child that's the most tough of the children that she has. If she has multiple children, like if she has more than you, then I feel like she would put you in the category of like the tough one, the one with the most inner strength, the person with the most like resilience, like and also the most rebellious one, but in a way where that she's starting to become more okay with now. Like it seems like she's starting to understand you, or she's trying to, but it's just hard because she has these expectations of who you were supposed to be, and that's just it's just so difficult for a child to break free of these expectations that parents sometimes have. Like sometimes a parent can have expectations that like a mother can have expectations that her child will like she might have, like I feel like your mother has been like when your mother was pregnant with you, I think your mother had all these ideas of who you were gonna turn out to be. Like she might have like had like everything thought through and like imagined like you becoming this and that, and so that is very hard to break free from. Like hard to break free from this vision that your mother had of you. And like if I feel like if you're a woman, then I feel like maybe your mother had this expectation, like now she was gonna get a girl, and she thought like now she was gonna have like her little doll that she could play dress up with and put into all these dresses and like braid your hair and make and then maybe you turned out to be like a little bit more of a tomboy kind of girl, and maybe that was also maybe a little bit hard for her to like having to change her vision of what she was expecting of you, what she thought was going to happen. And if you're a man, then this could be the same thing, where maybe she expected this, that she might have expected something different, like that you would be into sports and she would be like a soccer mom who would go to games with you and like and be yelling from the sideline and like yelling at the other children and yelling at the parents and like and thought that was the dream, but maybe you just didn't really care for sports, and so maybe there's just this like I think some parents can end up being too caught up in their own dream of what they want the child to be like, and not really looking at who the child actually is. And I feel like that is the case with you and your mother. And so, but yeah, but I think she is starting to understand, like, but it might have taken her a long time. And I know it might have put a strain on your relationship with your mother, but I think she is more susceptible to change now. Like she's more, I think she's more open now, and I think it would be easier for you to have these conversations with her now that she seems to have calmed down a little bit, and she doesn't seem as defensive now as she maybe was when you were younger. Like maybe you have had this conversation with your mother, but she was so defensive that you couldn't get anywhere with her because she was too stubborn, and she didn't want to apologize, and she didn't want to own anything. And maybe now is a better time to have that conversation with your mother and talk about your childhood with her, and talk about the things that she did that might have put a strain on your relationship. And I think it would be easier to have it now, because I think your mother is actually starting to see you more for who you are, but still she might still have these things that she can't really I wouldn't say she's completely open, but she's more open now to talk about this. And so yeah, with the lovers reversed, there might also, like, I don't know if some of you have had issues with your sexuality, or not issues, that's the wrong word, but some like maybe you've had difficulties coming out, like if you're a homosexual, or if you're if there's something that you've had to come out of the closet because of, like, there's something that might have taken you a long time to really come out of the closet, because your mother might have contributed to you staying in the closet for too long, maybe because she told you that you weren't gay, or like maybe you told your mother when you were in puberty, like starting puberty, you might have told your mother that you were gay, and your mother might have said, like, no, you're not. Like, if you were gay, she would have been the first to know. And she has a very good gaydar, and she knows all the gays, and she knows that you're not one of them, and or something like that. I don't know, and that might have been one of the one of the things that have contributed to your strained relationship with your mother. But I think now, your mother is starting to understand, like, especially now if you've been single for a long time and haven't found anyone, and maybe she is starting to realize that, okay, maybe you were gay after all, and maybe it's the reason why you haven't found anybody, and maybe now she's starting to understand that, or maybe you're now in a relationship with someone, and maybe now she knows that, okay, that she was a little bit wrong about that, like that maybe she jumped to conclusions and shouldn't have said that. The funny thing is that a lot of parents do this, like when their child hits puberty and starts feeling like there's something a little bit different about their puberty than than their classmates' puberty, and like feels a little bit like something different is happening inside them. Like, this is exactly where, like, it is puberty that it's in puberty that most people realize that they are actually gay. So it's so funny for some parents to be like, no, you weren't gay as a child. Of course not. Like, you can't be gay as a child. Like, you don't have a sexuality as a child. Like, you're a child, so you're not thinking about stuff like that. But that happens when you get to puberty, and you can't have a parent who says that that's not that she would have known earlier, because how could she? But I don't know. But I think now she is starting to realize more things, and she is starting to put the puzzle pieces together. It's taken her a long time to really figure you out, and it's not because you were hard to figure out, even though maybe your mother is going to try to pin that on you and say that you were a hard child to understand, and that you were so mysterious, and you never said anything, or again you were so quiet and so introverted that it was hard to really get to know you, or something like that. But this is just I think it's mostly just her. It's your mother who didn't see you, but just saw all her expectations. She just saw everything that she wanted you to be, and so yeah, it's taken her a long time to erase the expectations that she had, that was clouding her judgment on who you were. So, but yeah, she seems to be coming along. She's starting to figure it out, and maybe now that she's more open, maybe have these conversations with your mother. Because I don't feel like I don't feel like your mother is completely hopeless, I think your mother can easily turn this ship around and become a good mother to you, and I think she also is a good mother in a way, but she has just made a lot of mistakes, and it's hard to get past those mistakes. But and I'm not saying if for instance you have cut all contact with your mother, then that's of course a choice that you've made, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that you should contact your mother again. But I feel like if you haven't done that, then I think there is hope for you to actually rekindle and get to a point where you can actually strengthen this bond, and she can start getting to know you as the person that you are now. And I think there is a good chance for you to actually get along in the future. And so yeah. And if your mother is if you're asking about your mother who has passed away, I know it's only very few of you who are asking about a mother who has passed away, but I just want to say to you that I think it seems like your mother has realized things from the other side. Maybe it took that drastic of a change in order for her to realize that she was in the wrong. Maybe she needed to change her perspective all the way to the other side of the spirit line, this line here, from she's looking from the other side, and I think now she has a bigger, she can see the bigger picture. She understands she has a different perspective now, and she knows that she's in the wrong. And I think you can still get her to know you better, and talk to her from the other side, and have communication with her. It might seem a little bit like a one-sided conversation at first. If you don't if you're new to mediumship, it might seem a little, but you always have to start somewhere, and starting with just having a one-sided conversation with your mother, talking to her, telling her who you are now, and I think that could like eventually lead to more spiritual bonding over time. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. So, but I will end the reading here. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one, and have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 2. You chose this Mystical Medleys tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 2, the people who will choose group number 2? How does group number 2's mother perceive group number 2? Okay. I'm sensing that your mother perceives you as a mini me, like a mini version of herself. Like she feels like you're the spitting image of her. Like you look exactly like her. When she looks at you, she just sees the younger version of herself. Like she feels also like you're an extension to her. Like she feels very connected to you, and I also feel like she sees you as her bestie, like as her best friend. She can confide in you about everything. She feels like you're very fun to talk to, and she feels like you're the best company she can think of. Like she doesn't want to spend time with anybody as much as she wants to spend time with you. Like you are her favorite company, and if you have other siblings, she also likes their company too. But I think she feels like whenever you two are together, you always have fun. You always have like you have the same sense of humor. You have the same things that you like to talk about, and you have the same opinions, and you make fun of the same things and make fun of the same people, and like you just have a very deep connection that seems like that's just so it's very beautiful. But I feel like your mother is a little bit concerned. I feel like she's concerned that you're not becoming independent because of her, or that she's afraid that you're too dependent on her, and maybe also that she is too dependent on you. Like she feels like she can't live without you, and she feels like whenever she's doing something, she always thinks like this would have been so much more fun if she would have been doing this with you. Like that she always thinks about you, and I think like she feels like there's a little bit of a void inside of her whenever you're not there. Like whenever you're not in the room, whenever you're not in the house, she feels like something is missing. And so I think like if you have like moved away, like if you've like started like I don't know when you moved away from home. Like maybe you moved away from home 10 years ago. Maybe you still live at home. I don't know. But I feel like your mother just feels an emptiness when you're not there. And I think she feels like that she's dependent on you, you're dependent on her, and she doesn't know how to fix that, because I think she might also have like watched a lot of Dr. Phil, and maybe she feels like she's enabling you, and she might feel like maybe she shouldn't be such a big part of your life, because maybe maybe Dr. Phil also said something about like how you shouldn't be best friends with your children or something like that, and maybe she took that to heart and felt like she was doing something wrong, since she truly feels like you are her best friend. And I think she is afraid that she's maybe spoiling you a little bit, like making you a little bit too, like maybe when you two are together, she likes to make you feel good, make you feel special. She might buy you something, or like she might have, like whenever she comes visiting you, she might have like something that she bought, like because she thought maybe she just saw it in the store and she thought of you like at first, like, and then she felt like she had to buy it because she could just see how you would be happy about that, like, and there's nothing wrong with that, like with wanting to make your children happy, like buy something for them, like but I think she might feel like maybe she is like maybe she is spoiling you, or like or enabling you in some way, or like giving you too much, or helping you financially, or like I don't know if she might loan you some money if you're in trouble, or like, but she might feel like maybe she shouldn't be doing that, because it might make you like I don't know, but I think it's mostly because she has been listening to like shows like Dr. Phil, and maybe she also maybe she has been talking to some friends, and maybe she realized that none of her friends have the same sort of relationship with their children as she has with her child, or as she has with you. Like, so maybe she feels like something is wrong, even though it feels right. She feels like it feels right. It gives her, like, it gives her so much joy to make you happy. And she also feels like it gives you joy to make her happy. And she doesn't feel like it actually, like, in her mind it doesn't feel wrong, but everybody makes it out to be a problem, and so she feels like something needs to change. She can't keep, like, she can't stay this way, and she can't, and this relationship has to change in order for you to grow and develop as a person. She feels like maybe it's not healthy for you to be an extension of her, where she might feel a little bit like she's living her life through you, and she knows that's wrong, but she's also like, she enjoys it too much to want to completely get rid of this, if that makes sense, like, or get rid of whatever she's doing. Like, I don't know if get rid of it is the wrong phrase to use in this, but I think she feels like maybe she should create more distance between you two by maybe not visiting you so much, or not spend so much time with you. But then again, she doesn't want that to change. Like, she doesn't want her life right now to change, because she feels like she doesn't have that much time, or like she feels like, well, she is in like she's in a time in her life where she also knows that life is not eternal. Like life is gonna end at some point, and so she doesn't want to lie on her deathbed. Like of course, many years from now, I know. Like, but like she, like right now, she feels like she doesn't want to lie on her deathbed and feel like she should have spent more time with you, and that she shouldn't have listened to all the people telling her to create distance between her and her daughter or son. I don't know your gender, of course, but that she feels like that would be something she would she feels like that would be that would be a shame. Like and so I think she doesn't want to listen to people who just tell her that how she should be living her life. So I think she wants to keep this up, but I think it is in the back of her mind that maybe she should let you live your own life, and that maybe she doesn't even have to know everything about what you're doing. Like I think she's so used to just asking you about everything. Like she doesn't want any secrets between you two, and she expects you to tell her, like if you've been on a date with someone and it turned out horribly. She wants all the dirty details. Like she wants to know what went on, and she likes that. She enjoys that. It's like a little bit of a thrill in her life, but she realizes that maybe other moms don't get those details from their children like that. So maybe she feels a little bit like it's a little bit strange, and maybe she feels like, yeah, she is treating you like a best friend, and maybe not as a child, like as her child. But I think, yeah. I just feel like she would regret it if she, like, if she changed something about this relationship that she has with you, she would regret it in the future. She would feel like that there's no reason to fix something that isn't broken, and she doesn't feel like there's anything wrong with being best friends with her daughter. Like in her heart, it feels right, but yeah, but she might feel like sometimes, like sometimes she feels like she might sabotage things in your life. I know sabotage is a big word, and maybe it's not really the right word here, but I think she tends to like catch herself kind of ruining something for you so that she can keep you to herself. Like if you went on a bad date with someone, she might tell you like you should never see that person again, because like first of all because she thinks that's a bad person, and she listens to what you have to say, and she understands that you why you're upset and stuff like that. But there's also a part of her that, like, even if you tell about a date that you had with someone that wasn't even that bad, but she might find like a flaw like one small thing that he did, or like he or she did to you, and just focus on that, so that you don't go on a second date with that person, so that she can keep you to herself a little bit longer. And so I think she might, like, and if you're in a relationship right now, like, then I think maybe your mother has made some attempts to split you two up. And I think she knows when she does it, and she knows it's wrong. But it's like there's a little part of her that's like, well, first of all, she does believe that maybe that you deserve better. So she's not going to just tell you that somebody is good enough for you if she doesn't truly believe it. But there's also a part of her that kind of wants to maybe ruin it a little bit for you. And when she does that, she feels bad. She feels like, yes, then she can tell that it's not good for you, that she feels so possessive over you that she's not actually allowing you to move on and start your own life. I think she is afraid of losing you, and it is coming from a place of her just having so unlimited love towards you, and she can't contain it, and she can't fathom, or she can't bear the thought of having all this love that can't be channeled into you, like that doesn't have a door that she can pour it through anymore, because maybe you're gonna leave her, or gonna start your own life and be too busy and not return her calls and not talk to her anymore. And like, she's afraid that the next chapter of your life is gonna mean that you're not, like, that the next chapter of your life is gonna be without her. Like, it's gonna be with somebody else that's gonna be like your whole world, and she's gonna be left out. And I think she's afraid of that. But I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about how your mother perceives you. With the Ace of Swords reversed, she might already be a little bit afraid that you're that you're starting to slip out of her hands a little bit already. Like, I don't know if you've started dating somebody, or like if you've moved away from home or something. Like, if there has happened something recently that has created some distance between you and your mother, I think she feels like it's already happening. It's already happening. She's starting to see less of you. She is starting to realize that now the next chapter is already beginning. And I think it might be something small, like maybe she called you and you didn't pick up the phone, and now she's worried. And I think she might also have like this tendency to call you, and then, like, if you don't pick up the phone, she's afraid that you might be dead. Like, that you might have gotten like a heart attack, and that you're lying on the floor in your apartment and just dying, like, and she can't do anything about that because she's not there. And so there's maybe also like little bit of anxiety that your mother is feeling, like, now that you're on your own, she feels like she can't be there to to fix fix the things that might be inevitable, like or that she like like she's just hanging on. She's hanging on to like this, to you, and I think it's not really that she's actually concerned that you're dead, because I know she knows that you're probably not. Like in her like logical rational, like the logical rational side of her mind probably knows that you're probably just busy, but it comes through as death anxiety that you might be dead. But I think it's like, I don't know if it's like, maybe she's just afraid that you're dead. That she's the thing that she's most afraid of is maybe not that you're dead, but that the relationship between you and her is dying. And so it comes through as death anxiety, where she's afraid that something bad has happened to you, but really she's concerned with this connection that is slowly slipping out of her fingers. Like, if that makes sense. So yeah, you might have noticed that, like, if she calls you and you don't pick up, she's like, she calls you like 10 times and leaves voicemails where she's like concerned that something happened. But then, like, if you call her and she doesn't pick up the phone, then there's nothing, like, then she's like, well, of course, like, and maybe she does that a lot. Like, maybe she never has her phone on her, and so maybe a lot of times when you call her, she doesn't pick up the phone. But I think it's different rules applying to different people. So, like, some rules apply to you, and none of those rules apply to your mother, because it's I don't know, it yeah. With the 8 of Swords reversed, this is about this, like, when it's upright, it's someone who is blindfolded, and the blindfold is causing this person to think that she is trapped, that she can't go anywhere because she thinks she is, that she's in an entrapment, like, and the thing is that if she didn't have the blindfold on, she would realize that she is not actually trapped. She can just wiggle herself through the bonding, like there's some bonding on her, like some rope on her, that, but it's not actually tied very tightly. It's tied very loosely, and this, of course, it's not on this card. I'm talking about the Rider-Waite imagery. So if you're a little bit confused that I'm talking about something that's not really on the card, I get it, but I'm just seeing it as a Rider-Waite card. And of course, then I could just be using the Rider-Waite card instead of using a different deck. But you know, but it's for the fun of new imagery and different illustrations and different interpretations of the cards. But yeah, I'm just babbling. But this is about someone, like, it's about it's a symbolism for the anxiety that one feels when they feel like they can't do something, but truly it's just their mind causing them to not be able to do something physically. And physically they are capable, and it's just, it's like feeling trapped even though you're not trapped. Reversed, it's the opposite. It's feeling free. even though you're trapped. So I think your mother perceives you as someone who doesn't, maybe it's because you are a little bit trapped by your mother, and maybe your mother realizes that she's trapping you a little bit. She is maybe kind of making it easy for you to be with her, like trying to make it so that it's easier for you to be with her than to be on your own. Like maybe she also has tried to get you to move back home. Like if you have moved away from home, like if you have your own apartment, she might kind of talk to you about how it would be so much easier to just live at home, like, and you wouldn't have to pay for like an apartment, and that it would be financially better for you to live at home. And she's maybe trying to trap you, and maybe also trying to kind of like subtly manipulate you into being more with her, like by kind of by finding the flaws in in your partners or the people that you date, like try to make you angry with them for something they said, or like try to create distance between you and maybe some other people coming into your life so that she doesn't lose you. And it's all it like, when I talk about it this way, it sounds very bad, I know, and I think your mother realizes that it doesn't look, it doesn't paint her in a flattering light, and she knows she's doing something wrong, but it feels right. Like and she feels like you don't feel trapped by her. You don't feel like she's doing something bad against you, or like you don't feel like she's trying to trap you. And so I don't know if it's just all in your mother's head, that she feels like maybe she's the villain of this story, even though maybe she truly is the hero who just really wants the best for her daughter and wants to be there for her daughter and do things with her daughter because she wants to create good memories for her daughter and for her with her daughter, like, and want to do the things that she would regret not doing in the future if she didn't get to do these things with you. Like, she might also have like invited you on vacations with her, and she feels like this is not, like, she wouldn't want to go on vacation with anybody else. Like, she wants to do these things with you. She wants to share these moments with you because she feels like you're her favorite person in the world, and she wants to give you everything and do everything for you so that you will be happy because you're her first priority. And so there is a goodness in this, but there is a reason why I think she feels a little bit like the villain here, and that is because I think sometimes she realizes that subconsciously she is trying to sabotage things for you. She doesn't really realize it when she's doing it, but when she thinks about it afterwards, she can tell that she is overly critical of some of your, like, of some of the people that you've been dating, or like, or the, yeah, so, and maybe a little bit critical of her, of your love life in general, and so maybe she knows that maybe she does that because she's afraid of losing you, but she doesn't know how to, like, stop doing those things because it's like, it seems like there are a lot of things that she does impulsively, like in the moment, and then, like, when she thinks about it later, she realizes she did something wrong, but she doesn't realize that it's wrong when she does it. And so, and I don't know if it's necessarily wrong when she does it, and I don't know if like, but I think she might feel like she's trapping you. Like, she's making your life stagnant. She's pausing your life so that so that she gets the most time with you. And of course, like in any like, I don't know where you come from, but in many cultures, the mother stays in the household with the daughter for a long time, like, and lives with the daughter and her husband and the grandchildren, and everybody lives under the same roof. So it's just the Western culture that tends to want to separate everybody prematurely and wants everybody to move away from home when they are 18, and that if they stay any longer than that, then it's frowned upon. And so we should also remember that in other cultures this is not necessarily the norm. So I don't know. But I think she feels like she's doing something wrong, that she's enabling you, and that she's like making you her best friend, which she knows is a bad thing, and she knows that a parent is not supposed to have a strong bond with her children to the point where she's not allowing them to grow and become their own person. And like I think she might be overthinking this, but maybe there is also some truth to this. But I think she feels like her perception of you is that it seems like you are okay with this. Like you feel like you have the freedom to leave if you wanted to. She's not trapping, like she feels like she's not trapping you to the point where you wouldn't leave if you didn't want to be there anymore. Like, so I think she might feel like maybe it's just that yeah, I think she has a lot of anxiety toward, like she feels like she has made a lot of mistakes in her past, and she's afraid that this is one of them again, like that she's making another mistake by spending too much time with you. So I think it is. I think she is someone who has a hard time listening to her own intuition. I think she tends to be too fixated on what other people think, but then again she ends up always doing what her intuition like she ends up doing what her intuition tells her, but it's not because her intuition is telling her that to do it. It's more that she ends up just doing it out of impulse, and then afterwards she feels bad about following her intuition, because she feels like she should have done something different. She should have gone against her intuition and done the complete opposite of what she wanted to do. So I don't know. But this is, of course, not a lot about you. I know it's this reading seems to be a lot about your mother, and I don't know. It's just that she seems to have a lot of concerns. But I want to know a little bit more about like how she sees you, like. And I'm gonna use some of these archetype cards to see how her perception of you, what her perception of you is like. Okay. Okay, so with the father card, I'm just going to read the light attributes of all these cards. So it says, talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. So this is not necessarily about the father, there could be something about you also resembling your father, but I feel like your mother really sees you as a spitting image of her, but maybe personality wise she feels like you seem a little bit more like your father, but it's also about like talent for creating and supporting life, and I think and positive guiding light within a tribal unit. That I think she sees you as a very positive guidance in her life. That you, there might also have been something about you kind of taking up the role as the father. Like if you didn't have a father figure in your life growing up, you might have had others, like maybe you have other siblings, and maybe you have younger siblings, and maybe you were a little bit of a father figure for your younger siblings, and I think maybe she sees you as that you were a very good guiding light for your siblings, but that you also still are a very good guiding light for your siblings, and maybe also your nieces and nephews now. That you like, that you seem to, maybe she also feels like you're very family oriented, and you care about your family, not like some people who just walk away and never look back. Like you actually stay and try to bring the family together, try to come up with different ways to get everybody involved in everybody's life. Like maybe I think your mother sees you as the glue that keeps everything together, and I think maybe she doesn't want to lose you also because you are the glue that keeps everything together. That if you walked away from her and the family, then everything would fall apart. And that maybe she's afraid that if you found somebody, like if you found a new, like if you found a partner and started your own family, maybe you would be too preoccupied to take care of her, of your mother and your siblings and your nieces and nephews, and like all, and that the whole family unit would fall apart, like the whole tribe would fall apart if they didn't have you as a guiding light. And that she can't do what you do, like that she can't take up the tasks that you take care of, that she might feel a little bit like she is spoiling you sometimes, like making, like giving you gifts and doing something like that, and maybe helping you financially sometimes. But I think she also does that because she feels like you do so much for her and for the family that it's like she's repaying you as well. So yeah, with the artist card, it says expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. And so I think your mother sees you as a very creative person, very artistic, and that you express a dimension of life that is beyond the five senses. This also makes me think that you have some psychic abilities too, and I think your mother is actually very supportive of that and finds that very interesting, and seems very supportive, and like she wants you to keep doing that, like keep using that gift, and And like if you're asking about your mother who has passed away, I know this only resonates with a very few of you, but I know that some of you watch these videos because you want to bond with your mother who is on the other side of the dome, and I think your mother wants you to use your psychic abilities to be more in contact with her. I think she is very much present, like, and she's tied to you, connected to you in such a strong way that she might even speak through you, and she might feel a little bit like she's maybe overly involved now, like from the spirit side, but like, but that energetically she might be, she might interfere a lot in your life, and maybe also, maybe sabotage some of your relationship from afar, not because she's afraid of losing you to her, but just because she feels like that you're making a mistake by dating beneath your level, like dating someone who's not up to your standard. So maybe she feels like she's micromanaging a little bit from the other side, and maybe she feels like she shouldn't be doing that. So she might feel a little bit guilty about it, but I think she also wants you to maybe try to talk to her, and through mediumship. I think she believes that you can do that actually, and I think then she would also be able to know if you want more help or if you want less help. So I think she wants you to ask for help for the things that you want help with, because now I feel like you're not really asking her for help. Like and so she's just helping you with the things that she thinks you want her help with, and maybe sometimes she feels like she's hitting the mark, and sometimes she feels like she's missing the mark, and so I think she wants you to ask her for help. Like if there's something that you're struggling with, ask her to help you figure it out. Like, and so so with the child eternal here, like I'm gonna go away from the I'm gonna go away from the whole other side of the fence kind of reading. I'm gonna go more and do the rest of the reading for those who have a living mother, I think. And this, I think this is about inability. Yeah, it says inability to grow up and be responsible, extreme dependency on others for physical security. And so I think she feels like you're dependent on her, and I think she feels like it's good, but it's also maybe too much, and that maybe she's causing this. And I think the reason why it's like, I know it comes across as very bad, very negative, but I feel like your mother softens it when she says it, or when she thinks it. It's a lot softer than what is coming across on this card here. I think she feels guilty for making you so dependent on her, because she knows that she has been doing this. Like she has been creating this monster. Like, not that you're not the monster, but the monster of this this problem that maybe she feels like, you're not growing, that you're not growing as a person, and it's a direct cause of her actions to make you more dependent on her. Like she has been trying to make you more dependent on her because she was afraid of losing you, but now she's afraid that you're too dependent on her, and that it's not good for you, and it's startling your growth and making you not move on. And I think she's just a little bit ambivalent about this, because in a way she wants that, in a way she doesn't. So she wants what's best for you, but she realizes the thing that's best for you is going to be worst for her. Like it's going to be bad for her. But she needs to figure out if she's going to like I don't know. It seems she has, but she is very inspired by you, and she feels like you're doing something great, and like she sees you as very talented and very creative, and that you're doing something that also seems to inspire other people, and she sees that. She realizes that you actually make a great impact on other people, and that you're a big asset in this world, like for the world, and she sees you as someone with great potential, and she also believes that she believes wholeheartedly that you're gonna become something great. She's just afraid that she might be postponing it, like causing it to happen later, because she's maybe not not pushing you out of the nest, and that she should have maybe pushed you out of the nest a long time ago and cut the umbilical cord, and I think it's but I think she is seeing that you're actually starting to become more independent, but maybe you're but maybe it has taken a little bit longer, and maybe she feels like it's her fault. So there's something about it's a lot of guilt trip. It's a lot, but I think she's I don't know. But I think that's all I have for you. Group number 2. I hope this reading was helpful. And if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose this Influence of the Angels tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 3, the people who will choose group number 3? How does group number 3's mother perceive group number 3? I feel like your mother perceives you as loving and caring and supportive and nurturing, and I think she feels like she must have done something right, because you're a very responsible adult, and I think she feels like you turned out very, very well, very, very good. You're a very good person. You treat everyone with respect, and I think she's just very proud of you, and very proud of how empathetic you are, and how understanding you are of other people, and how you give people your time. You're not afraid of doing things for people. You're not afraid of helping people. You're not afraid of like spending time on people, listening to their problems, listening to their stories, like that you really have a lot of patience with people. And I don't know if you work with people like for a living. I don't know if you're a nurse or like a caregiver for someone, or like that if you live if you work with, I don't know if you work with disabled children or disabled adults, or if you work in a retirement home, or if you work in a kindergarten or some, I don't know, but I feel like your mother sees you as someone who is extremely good at your job, and I think she's very proud of that, and she feels like you're doing exactly the right job, because it's a job where you can use all your great abilities and great talents, because I think your mother sees you as a people person, that you've always been very good at sensing people's energies and understanding like the core, the soul of people, like the getting deep and understanding the deeper essence of another human being. And I think she's just really proud of that, proud of the fact that you're not a shallow person, that you're someone who actually digs deeper and sees past physical appearance or like something like that. But I'm going to shuffle and see what the cards have to say about how your mother perceives you. Okay, with the Justice card, I think your mother perceives you as very fair, and that you have a very good moral compass. You're very good at knowing what's right and what's wrong, and you're very good at sensing justice, like when justice is being done and what's unjust to do. That you're also a humanitarian, and that you also ask hard questions, maybe also in your line of work, that you dare to maybe talk about something that is controversial or considered controversial by others. Like maybe you don't have maybe you're not afraid of talking about like maybe like if you work with disabled people, them or people who have like people who are in who are paralyzed and multi-disabled or multi-handicapped, or like or something like that. You might ask some of the hard questions, like ask whether like is this humane to do the things that is required of you at your workplace, and you might take those things up for discussion, and maybe you even do something politically, like maybe you talk about this in a more public setting, or like something where you're a spokesman for some kind of organization or something. I don't know. But I think your mother is very proud of you, proud of the fact that that you dare to talk about some of the hard things, and that you are so empathetic in your line of work, and that you're also just so good with her. Like I feel like your mother feels like you treat her very well, and very and that you're very considerate of her feelings, and maybe sometimes you're a little bit tough on her, but like maybe maybe you have questioned some of her decisions in the past, like things that she decided to do that you might not agree on, or might feel like that's maybe something you wouldn't want to do, or that you are going to do differently when you have a child. Or if you already have a child, you might have talked to your mother about how you want to do certain things differently. And maybe you have like indirectly told your mother that you disagree with the way that she did things, since you now want to do it differently. So I think she got the memo. Like she understood that it was a slight, subtle criticism of what she did, but I think she also knows that she wasn't, like, that she maybe wasn't the best mother, or maybe she did some things that she shouldn't have done, but and that she might have been a little bit passive throughout your childhood. Like she might not have been able to, or she might not have protected you from some harm that was caused on you, and so she failed on protecting you mostly. But I don't think she has inflicted any pain on you or done anything that directly caused you harm, but maybe she was like witnessing somebody else doing it and not saying anything about it. And I think she feels regretful about that. I think she realizes that she should have interfered and intervened a little bit, but she didn't. And so I think you have confronted her with that, but I think she actually still feels like, even though you confronted that that you confronted her about that, I think she still feels like you're very kind to her and very patient with her, and that she's very, very happy that you haven't let go of her, like that you haven't just walked away or closed the door on her. Like, and I think maybe she feels like maybe other people wouldn't have, like, maybe I just think she feels like other people who had been in your position, like your situation growing up, like I don't know if this was a stepdad or like somebody that came into your life because of your mother, like your mother invited somebody into your life, and this person might have been very hard towards you and maybe disciplined you in a very problematic way, or like maybe yelled at you, or was very maybe didn't treat you in the most respectful way. And maybe she feels like she could have changed the narrative by shutting that person up or doing something actively to make this situation better for you, but she didn't. And I think she is blaming herself for that. She is guilty about that, but she's just so happy that even though you are a little bit mad at her for putting you in that position, you still talk to her, you still call her every week or every day, and like you still seem to you still want to be there for her. And maybe you also see her as the victim of the same thing as you were a victim to. And I think she feels like you're very empathetic of her, and maybe she feels like if it had been any other person, maybe that person wouldn't have, like, if you had been another person, another, like, if you, like, yeah, then maybe you would have been too mad at her to feel empathetic towards her and see her. I think she sees you as a very special angel, since you can actually feel bad for her for the things that she was, like, also, like, that you can feel like that you can see her as a victim. That's just, I think she feels very, very grateful for that you can actually see that she was also in the same pickle as you were, and maybe yes, she can see that she put you in there, and like you did not inflict this upon yourself, as she, and in a way she inflicted it on you, but it's still another person who did it directly. She just was someone who witnessed it, which is still the same thing, but like she stood there and did nothing, but she did it also out of fear. I feel like she felt like maybe she, like, if she had intervened, she could have gotten something worse, like that she was doing it to protect herself, but also to protect you, because if this person had killed her, I know this is dramatic, but if this person had killed her out of, like, because she intervened, then you would have been alone. And so I think in her mind, she might be justifying what she did by telling herself that if she had done something, then maybe it could have been fatal for her. I don't know what kind of situation this was. I don't know if it was a violent kind of, like domestic violence or something like that. But I think your mother is just so grateful that you turned out amazing. And yes, you might feel like she did, like I said in the beginning, that she feels like she did something right here. And I think that, like, that she must have done something right, since you are such an amazing, empathetic person. But I think she feels like she did a lot of things that wasn't right. But she's just justifying that maybe it wasn't so bad, since you're okay now, like you're not completely traumatized. But like, I think that's more her own way of trying to justify the past. And it's, I don't know, but I think, like, right now, I think she sees you as just beautiful, amazing, loving, caring, such an empathetic, beautiful soul, such an angel, a complete angel. And she doesn't understand how that happened, really, because I think she might have expected the worst because of what she put you through. She might have thought you would turn out differently, like turn out like a little bit of a bad seed, maybe, because of what she put you through, and that would just have been natural. That you could have gone a completely different route, like a different path in life, because that could have easily gone sideways. But she's just so grateful that that things didn't go sideways, that you actually are so amazing. And yeah, I think like I'm also sensing that maybe your mother moved you to another country, like maybe because she was like trying to escape something, like maybe a domestic violence kind of situation, or something else, like emotional abuse, or like something that she was trying to escape from, and so she might have moved to a different country, and maybe she knows that wasn't good for you, like to grow up as the foreigner, to grow up as to grow up in a completely different country where you don't know anybody, and you're away from your whole family, and you're like, yeah, and maybe she also maybe she feels bad about that now, and she knows that things could have easily turned differently for you. Like, she's just impressed with you since there has not been any issues with you at all. Like, you seem to have always been very problem free, like a very easy child, and you're still an easy adult. You're easy to get along with. You only want the best for everybody. Like, you're not intrigued. Like, you're not you're just very like very good at getting along with everybody, and you're good at doing the things that you're supposed to do. Like, you're not doing drugs, you're not abusing any substance, or like you're not self-sabotaging, you're not criminal, you're not like doing any of the things that a parent would be afraid that their child would end up doing. Like, you're not doing any of those things, and I think your mother is just so grateful that you are not like doing any, like, you're not rebelling or doing anything like anything bad. Like, you're just living your life as you're supposed to do, and doing it perfectly, and yeah, I think she knows that with all the things that she has put you through, you could have easily gone down the path of doing drugs and selling drugs and ending up in jail, but you didn't, and she's just very grateful. She feels like there must have been a guardian angel that protected you when you were a child, because you wouldn't have been able to go through the childhood that you had without having someone to protect you. And I think she knows that she failed to protect you, and maybe she knows that it was, or maybe she has some reasons to why she didn't protect you, like because she was afraid of what would happen if she protected you, or maybe she was depressed and she couldn't get out of bed, like she couldn't do the things that she was supposed to do in order to protect you, maybe because she was on some medication, or taking sleep medication that made it hard for her to wake up in the morning and get you ready for school and stuff like that. And I think she knows that she wasn't the best mother, but she knew that, like, if she didn't take that sleep medication, even though it made her a bad mother, she felt like if she didn't, her life would fall apart. And so it was it was a choice between two bad things. And with the Two of Wands here, I think your mother sees you as very organized, as a planner, like someone who plans ahead, someone who's scheduled, and like you're very good at good at making structure in your life, which I think she feels is completely something that you've learned on your own, because she might not have raised you in any structure at all. Like she knows that there wasn't structure in the home that you grew up in, and she's aware of that, and so she's just amazed that you have been able to get this structure somehow. And yeah. I'm gonna shuffle a little bit more and see how your mother perceives you. Okay, the sun is here. Like she sees you as very positive and very optimistic, and like you're just someone who shines your light on everybody, and you're well liked, and you seem like the type of person that people ask for. Like whenever there's some party and you're not there, I think people ask your mother where you are, like because they expect you to be there, and they're afraid of that or not afraid that was not the they are like what was I about to say? Like I think like they like whenever you're not there, I think they are like they feel like something is missing, like someone is missing, you are missing, and they feel like it's a little bit empty without you, like because you light up the room. You might not say a lot, like when you're at a party or when you're at some kind of social event or something like that. You might not be the type of person who talks a lot, but your presence is very very important. It's like people notice when you're not there, and people feel bad about that, or feel like I think, and why I said afraid is that I think people tend to be afraid that you might be mad at them or something, but it's not because of, like, I think that you're such a positive person, and so it's not that they are, but I think people just really want to be your friend. And so whenever, like, if you don't come to a party or something like that, like if there's a birthday and you don't attend that birthday, like then the person throwing the birthday party might think like maybe they said something that might have offended you, even though like they have no reason to think you would be offended, because you're not the type of person who gets offended or gets mad at anybody. But I think that's also why people why you keep people guessing, because people see you as this positive person who's just nice to everybody, but they might wonder if deep down you're angry with them, like if you're just hiding it very well, like, or something like that. I don't know. But this is not your mother. Like it's other people though. Like it's like, and I think your mother knows that like people just really want to be friends with you. People like you very much. People see you as a star. like the star of the show, like, and so when you're not there, they feel like there's no reason to even have the party if you're not there. And so I think your mother just knows that, like, that you have a great impact on other people, and she can tell because people always ask about you, and people who don't even know you that much ask her, like, how you are doing, or like what you're doing right now, or like what kind of job you're working right now, or like what, like the people seem very curious about you and seem to care about you, even though they've just met you once or twice. They start asking about you, and so it really makes your mother feel like you're actually someone that people really care about, and people care about your well-being, and people and I think your mother knows that it's because you care about them, and so they return the favor by caring about you too. So with the Two of Cups, I think your mother perceives you as, someone who's very loving, someone who has a lot of love to give, that you're very warm, and you give off a very warm energy, a very healing energy. I don't know if you are a healer or do energy healing or Reiki healing or something like that, but I think your mother just knows that you're a natural healer, like that you can heal with your hands, and that your energy can heal people. Like you have a presence that can be cathartic to people, and heal people from within. And I think your mother really believes that, because I think your mother feels like whenever she's around you, she instantly feels better. And also I think your mother sees you as someone who is very therapeutic. Like you might, like whenever your mother has a problem, I think she feels like whenever she talks to you about it, you put things in perspective, you make her understand the core of the problem, and you give such good advice to her, and makes her realize exactly what she's supposed to do, and what next steps she's supposed to take in order to fix her problem. And she just feels like that's just that it's just such an important thing in her life. Like you're such an important person in her life, because you contribute with so much, and she's so grateful. And with the Five of Cups here, well, I think your mother might perceive you as like sometimes a little bit disappointed in her, but she knows like that mostly you're very understanding of her, and you're very patient with her, and you listen to her, and you understand where she's coming from, and you understand the reasons why she did the things that she did. But I think she can tell that sometimes you're a little bit disappointed in her, like that sometimes like one thing is that that she did a lot of mistakes in your childhood, and you have forgiven her for that, but maybe you get a little bit disappointed when she does something now that resembles what she did to, or what she failed to do when you were younger. Like there might be certain times where it's a bit hard for you to that you try so hard to understand your mother, and understand where she came from and why she did the things that she did. And maybe you have come to an understanding of your mother that is very deep, and you understand the deeper issues, and you understand that many of the things that she did in your childhood is because she was influenced by her mother, and that she had learned from her mother that this is what she was supposed to do, or like so there might have been like generational like trauma that just kept like repeating itself. And so you might understand that is where it came from, that it was hard for her to break out of the cycle because the cycle was so stubborn, like so hard to break out of. But I think maybe sometimes you're like sometimes you don't understand your mother, and it might have something to do with her look or her viewpoint on or her perception on gender roles, or how a relationship is supposed to be. Like she might still have some delusions about how a real relationship should be like, and maybe she has some ideas about how women should be silent and shouldn't speak up to the man, and that the woman should be submissive to the man, and maybe that the man should be the ruler of the house, and the man should be calling all the shots, and that the man should be the patriarch of not the matriarch, but the patriarch of the family, and that maybe your mother just has these perceptions that are very set in stone, and something that she was grown up to believe. And it's very hard for her to come out of that. And so whenever you're in a relationship and you're not maybe doing the things that she feels like you should be doing in a relationship, like maybe she might still like ask you like, oh, why are like, if you're in a relationship right now, she might say something like, why is your husband doing the dishes? You should be doing the dishes, or something like that. And maybe it kind of puts you back to like this like disappointment, like that you're disappointed that your mother still doesn't get it, like that she's still in this, like it seems like sometimes you feel like you're starting to make your mother understand that things does not have to just be one way, and that this viewpoint that she has on a perfect relationship was a horrible relationship, that that was like, because I feel like your mother has been a victim of like domestic violence and like or emotional abuse in a relationship, and she still thinks it was okay in a way. And so and this might be why you're a little bit disappointed in her, because it seems like she wants that for you still, or like that, and so she keeps on the trauma from your childhood by trying to push you into getting into a relationship that's kind of like the relationship that she had with somebody in your childhood that caused you a lot of trauma. And so, if that makes sense. I know this is all very specific, so I know that this might not resonate with all of you, and but this is what's coming through in this reading. And so if this reading doesn't resonate with you, then choose one of the other piles or the other groups. But yeah, I think like I understand why you're sometimes a little bit disappointed in your mother, and I think your mother can feel it. Like she can feel that you're disappointed in her, but I think she doesn't really understand how to fix it because it's so rooted in her, and she doesn't know. Like it's very hard to fix something if you don't believe it's broken. Like if you really if your core belief is that you're actually right about this, then then it's very hard to change that. And especially now that she's older, it might be even harder to change her viewpoint, because now it's kind of setting, like it's becoming stern, and yeah, it's like you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like that now is maybe not the time to have this discussion with your mother, because it's just getting she seems to be getting more and more like fixed in her belief of what a real relationship should look like, what a healthy relationship should look like, what a traditional proper relationship should look like. And it might be very different from what you believe is a healthy relationship, but it might not be something that you can change about your mother. It's maybe something that you're going to have to get disappointed over and over again. But I feel like there are so many other things where you see eye to eye with your mother. So I think it's just about, like, the key here is to just not talk to your mother about relationships, because your mother is very far away from your point of view, and you're not gonna agree on this. But I feel like there are a lot of there seems to be a lot of other topics where you agree completely with each other, and maybe you should just talk about those things instead. So yeah, but I think that's all I have for you. Group number 3, I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 4. You chose this Miss Cleo's tarot deck, this deck right here. And I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards. So I'm going to do the channeling now. Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 4, the people who will choose group number 4? How does group number 4's mother perceive group number 4? Rebellious. Okay, so I'm sensing that your mother perceives you as rebellious, and a little bit like you're trying to push the limit a little bit, maybe with her, but also in general, maybe with your art. Like, I don't know if some of you are creative or artistic, and maybe you do something creative as a hobby or for a living. Like maybe you paint pictures or write books or something. I don't know. But maybe you like to be a little bit like satirical. Like maybe you like to write satire, and maybe a little bit more provocative things, like putting things on the edge. I feel like you're not afraid of daring to do something a little bit bold, like write something that nobody would write, because they would feel like it's a little bit too much or a little bit too provocative, or something like that. Or at least I think your mother perceived you like that way when you were a teenager. Maybe you liked to write short stories that were like borderline bordering towards something illegal, like a little bit too like maybe you just liked to write something that would get like a very harsh reaction, like something that could really get somebody's piss boiling, like and maybe you like to write essays in school where your teacher might have called your parents and told them like that this is like your child is writing some really dark things, and it's like a little bit problematic. Like it kind of gives me like the images of like those horror movies where there's like a child and the child just paints the whole family where everybody's like dead or like filled with blood all over, and then like they send the child to a psychiatrist because like there's something up with this child. But I don't know, it's but I think the funny thing is, I think your mother actually found this hilarious. Like, I think your mother loved this about you and kind of hyped it along and kind of wanted you to keep doing this, because I think she liked that you were on the edge, like, and being edgy with your things, like your and that I think she considered it like creative expression, and that you were finding your artistic style, and I think she thought it was just really cool. It's kind of giving me association to Kim Kardashian, in that like there was like a clip where she was showing some of her child's like Northwest's art, and it was like this painting of a woman that was like a kind of skeleton-y woman that was screaming, and it was like Kim Kardashian standing there with this very, very problematic painting and being like, oh, see how talented my daughter is. She painted this on her own. She's only 5 years old. Like, you know, and it's like everybody's like, what's like, this child needs an exorcism. But other than that, yeah, it's a good painting. It's very pretty. It's very well done. I guess she used a lot of like different techniques and stuff like that, and it is impressive. But it's kind of like, I think it's cool though. Like, I like these kinds of these parents who just like, I guess my mom was also a little bit like that. I think I got to, like, I was maybe allowed to write some things in my essays that maybe other parents would have said like, you shouldn't write this. Like, this is a little bit too dark. Yeah, I think so. Like, I did like when I was in school, like when I was like, I guess I was like 13, or I guess I was 14. I think I was 14, and I had to like make an advertisement, and I advertised for painkillers and like made it about suicide. Like it would be like that like if and so I guess other parents would have said like, that's a little bit, that's too much. Don't do that. Like that, no. Like, that's not fun to make fun of. Like that, you shouldn't make fun of suicide. And so, I guess, like, but I think parents also have a duty to just allow their children to be a little bit stupid in order to find themselves. And yeah, I don't know, but I think your mother thought you were very cool, when you were a little bit rebellious when you were a teenager, and still now I think your mother finds it cool whenever you do something that's a little bit on the edge, something where you're taking a risk, and where you're like using your freedom of speech and using your freedom of expression and really doing something that nobody has done before, or like something like that. Oh. So with the Three of Coins, I think your mother perceives you as very smart, very intelligent, very capable. Like you're very. I think your mother sees you as like someone who could become like a big author, like a big writer if you wanted to, like or a big artist. I think she has like big prospects for you. Like I think she sees a lot of potential in you, and I think she has always seen a lot of potential in you. I think she always saw you as an entertainer. Even when you were like a child, she might have like asked you to entertain the guests and like do a little bit of a show for the guests, like whenever your mother was holding a party, like, or having a party at home, like in her house, like she might have told you like that you could put on a show, you could like maybe sing something for the guests or something like that. And I think I don't know if this is for all of you though, like this might be specific for some of you, but I think your mother has always kind of hyped you up and tried to get you to entertain, because I think your mother has just always seen you as a performer, as somebody who could entertain an audience. And I think she has always been very proud of everything that you've written, and she might have even like sent some of your work, like some of your poems, or like something that you wrote when you were younger. Like she might have sent it to all your family members, and you might have been super embarrassed because it was never supposed to be like read by them, like that you didn't think like your like your great uncle, like, or something like that they would be reading some of your deepest, darkest thoughts like that. That was maybe a little bit of a violation to your trust in her, like, but I think it's just because she was so proud. I think she thought she had really like produced a child that was different, like, and special and unique and original, and she just wanted the whole world to see it. So yeah. With the Knight of Cups, I think your mother perceives you as also very like very loving, very caring. Like even though maybe you did some dark art or like some things that was bordering towards not okay, like, or something like that, whereas maybe you did some things just to provoke people, maybe through art mostly. I think it was mostly through art, like your art, maybe you used art as like your main sort of like bad expression, but you never, I feel like you never actually talked bad towards anybody or offended anybody in real life, like, or like you never talked, or you never bullied anybody when you were younger, and you still like you would never say anything to anyone to hurt their feelings or to to offend them or anything like that. So I think your mother sees you as someone who's very very kind and very warm, and I think that was also why she found it so funny that you had this funny side of you, and I think she just thought it was very comical, and like that you could produce this dark humor at such a young age, and she didn't know where it was coming from, but it was also like, it was hilarious, but also like kind of out of character, like not really in character for you, which was also something she just found very interesting. So if that makes sense. And she knew, she knew that she didn't have a bad child. That was also the thing. Like, if you wrote something that was like very dark and about like something really creepy, like maybe Satan, or like if you wrote something about the devil and like and I don't know, and about death and about or something like that, but or I don't know, but then you were like fussy and also just such a kind person, and didn't really didn't seem like of course if this was coming from a child who was like bullying everybody and being like a bad seed and getting in fights with everybody and like then it would have been another story. Then your mother would have been, of course, fixing the problem and trying to like change your behavior. But since you were such a good, kind kid that never did anything wrong and never said anything wrong to anybody and never bullied anybody and was just this angel child who then I think your mother just found it amazing that you could have this other side of you that could be shown through artistic expression, like through writing or through drawing or painting, that it was just so amazing that you could have that too, like that. And she was never concerned with you, never concerned that there was anything wrong with you, or that you needed an exorcism or anything like that. She just found it so funny that you had, and I think she also just saw it as humor, like a very good dark sense of humor, and that it was a little bit morbid sometimes, but it was also just good fun, and showed that you were a very good entertainer, and I don't know. With the 6 of coins here, I think your mother see you as someone who is also just very helpful, very good at helping people, that you're charitable, you're someone who's not afraid of doing too much. You're not afraid of putting in the work, and you're not afraid of helping people out, and that you're a very good person. And I think she feels like maybe she misses that rebellion. Like maybe you're not very rebellious anymore. Like maybe it was more when you were an emo teenager or something like that you kind of tended to want to like try out some limits, and you did it maybe through art, but or and also maybe expression like through your clothing, like maybe you dressed a little bit or like not provocatively, but like in the goth style or the emo style, or like something with like dead bunnies, or like or something with skeletons and something like that, and maybe your mother kind of misses a little bit that time where you were expressing yourself and like rebelling through your creative expression and your clothing, and like she might feel like now you're living an adult life and you're maybe just doing what you're supposed to do, and like maybe she feels a little bit like she would want you to kind of go a little bit back to that, like especially with the art. I think she feels like maybe you have left the art on a shelf somewhere, and that you're waiting for the right time to kind of go back to it. But maybe she feels like maybe you should try that out a little bit more. I don't know. Or if you do art for a living now, maybe she feels like you're doing your art in a way that is maybe a little bit too inside the box or inside your comfort zone, like where maybe she misses the time where you would just like have some more morbid and dark themes and like provocative themes and stuff like that. That it was a little bit more surprising and shocking, and I think she liked the edgy art form. I think it's also maybe something that like maybe since like I feel like your mother might be like a teacher or a police officer or like a priest, or like something where she is in authority, and so she might like there might be this unspoken rule that people with authority needs to have children that rebel against the norm in a little like with the priest's child, like that there is like it's unspoken, but there seems to be like like some kind of, or at least a pattern that these people usually have to be a little bit on the edge, a little bit, and try out some limits, try out some boundaries, because they are supposed to be one way, and like I don't know, I don't know what this is, but like your mother could also be like a kindergarten teacher or something like that. But like I just feel like any kind of like job where she's like doing something for the public, where she's like working for the public and being like this authority figure for the, like she could also be a lawyer or something where she is like obtaining obtaining the law or something like that, where she's, or I don't know if obtain is the right word, but like keeping the law, and like there's just an unspoken kind of, I don't know if it's an unspoken rule, I just made that up, I guess, but I think that I think that people, maybe it's just that parents who have jobs where they have authority like to have children that are a little bit rebellious, even though they might like they might cry about it and be like, oh yeah, my child is so rebellious and rebelling against like but it's kind of like this, it's them hyping it up a little bit, like sometimes at least. I don't know. I don't know if this is bullshit that I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know where this is coming from. This is not my opinion. I've just made it up right now. Like I feel like it's coming from like somewhere else. And I don't know if this is a part of the channeling, but it's at least coming from, like, I don't know, my butt. I don't know. It's the last part. I don't know if that's true. Like, but the rest of the reading, I'm pretty positive that's pretty true. But this part, it's I don't know. I don't think there is an unspoken rule that parents with authority need to have children who rebel against the norm. I don't think so. But yeah, it's. But I'm gonna do a little bit more. I don't know if I should just end the reading here, or if I should shuffle a few more cards. Maybe these archetype cards, just to get a little bit more information about how your mother perceives you. I guess I'm gonna do that. So yeah. So, how does your mother perceive you? Okay, so with a warrior card, I think your mother sees you as a warrior. Like the card, it says strength, skill, discipline, and toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. Yeah, I think your mother sees you as very strong, very skilled, someone who has discipline in what you do, and toughness of will, that you are not someone who is easy to change, or like if you set your mind to something, it's hard to make you change your mind about it. Like, and I think your mother finds that very good. And I think your mother sees you as a pioneer, and that you have a passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. Like, you're original. I think your mother sees you as just this unique person who can create things that has never been done before, that nobody has seen before. And I think she wants you to keep doing that, because I think maybe you feel like you've grown out of that part of you where you needed to be special and be unique, and maybe you feel like a little bit more like maybe now you just want to be like everybody else in a way, or maybe you feel like that would make life a little bit easier if you were just like everybody else, because of course doing things that have never been done before, like it can make you a target. Like, and maybe you have experienced that, like that maybe you have posted your art on Instagram or on the internet, and maybe you felt like some people got it, some people understood it, and some people were really thrilled by it, but other people might have criticized you for doing something that wasn't conventional enough, or and of course, for those of you where you haven't been posting things on the internet, then I think like maybe you just like, I don't know if you feel like it's a bit risky to do something risky, and that maybe you're afraid of the reaction that it would get, that you're maybe afraid that it would get to you if you got hate comments or criticism or something like that, because that is a big part of the internet, and a big part of making yourself public is making you a target to trolls and haters on the internet. And so I understand it, but I feel like your mother just wants you to dive right in and just get into it, and like don't listen to, or don't let trolls and haters stop you from like from doing what you want to do. And especially since, like, if you haven't actually made that step to get public with your art, then you really don't know if you're even gonna get any troll comments or haters on your social media. Like, maybe you're gonna be spared from that, and maybe everybody's gonna love it. So it is like, I think your mother just really wants you to just become, like, don't be so afraid of going public with some of the things that you have done, or like the things that you're thinking about doing. And if you want to write a book, I think your mother just wants you to start doing it, and don't think about other people. Don't think what people might want to read. Like, maybe you had a very good idea for a book, but maybe you kind of maybe you felt like it wasn't good enough, or like maybe you told your mother that you thought it was a bad idea because you realized that maybe some people would get offended by it, or like maybe you felt like it had already been done before in some other form or something like that, or that maybe nobody would want to read it. Like, maybe you've thought about writing like a kind of like a teenage novel, but with some very adult themes into it, and maybe kind of like a Harry Potter kind of thing, but with some more adult themed topics in it or something. And maybe you thought like that it didn't really fit the demographic of the target audience that you were going for, and that maybe the language would set off some people and make people feel like that's not something that should be read by teenagers or young adults or even children. I don't know, but again, like, that's something that a lot of people, or some people, tend to like. I don't know if it's more normal in Denmark and Scandinavia, but I think there are a lot of authors who write children's books and even children's movies that are a little that have very, very vulgar language and a lot of like very on the edge jokes, and like it's, I guess it's like, children find it funny though. Like, they don't understand all the problematic jokes. Luckily, they don't get it, but they find it funny anyways. And I kind of feel like a little bit ambivalent about it, because in a way I think it's okay. I think, like, I watched movies like that when I was young, like when I was a teenager, and maybe that was also why I kind of wanted to write more provocatively and do my school essays and school projects a little bit edgy, and maybe that was because I was inspired by some of the movies that I was watching, but I think it's okay. I think it's just an art form, and I don't think children necessarily has like I don't think they have that. I don't think it's such a bad thing for them to be exposed to this kind of, like, to the darker sense of humor and even vulgar language. I don't think they necessarily pick up on that in a way where they understand what they're saying, so they just say it because they find it a little bit funny, or like, and I don't know if it's necessarily gonna traumatize them. I don't think so, and I think maybe we make it a problem that maybe it's not really that big of a problem, really. Maybe it's just fun, like old-fashioned, not old-fashioned, but just fun, you know. And sometimes things can also just be fun without having to overthink everything. And I don't know, but maybe I come also from like a part of the world where things like that is a little bit more okay to expose children to some things that are a little bit too provocative. But yeah, I think I don't even know where yeah, but with the advocate here, like it says, inspires you to put compassion into action. And so I think your mother sees you as someone who's very compassionate, but you're also very active in your compassion. You show compassion very, very well. Like you're good at, like, whenever you see some injustice, whenever you see something wrong, you interfere. You don't just witness it and just allow it to happen. You actually say something. You stand up for the underdog, or you stand up for the little guy who doesn't have a voice to actually to stand up for himself, or, like, you know, that you're good at standing up for people who don't stand up for themselves. And with a gambler reversed, the shadow attribute says relying on luck rather than hard work. And maybe your mother sees you as someone who relies a little bit more on luck, or that you might have been very lucky in some aspects of your life, but I don't think she feels like you rely on luck only, because I think your mother also sees you as someone who works, and that you work for the things that you have. But maybe she feels like you could work a little bit harder, and maybe it's also because of some of the ideas that you have. Like, if you have an idea for a book, you might have had this idea for many years, but you haven't actually made something out of this idea. Like, maybe you haven't manifested it into reality, or materialized it by actually doing it, writing it and finishing it. And I think maybe your mother wants you to finish more of the projects that you start, instead of just following your inspiration wherever it leads you. Like, that maybe you have a tendency to start something, and then, like, halfway through you get this great idea to start something new, and then you start doing that, and halfway through you realize that you actually want to paint a painting. And maybe your mother wants you to just finish something first before you start something new. So but I think your mother sees you as very, very talented, very smart, very entertaining, very like someone who has a lot of star quality. And I think she has always imagined you, like, doing something great, like influencing the world, doing something that's original, something that has never been done before. And she has always been proud of you, even when you were doing something that was a little bit too edgy, or I think she has always found it really cool, whatever you were doing, and she still does. But I think she feels like now you're maybe leaving the cool stuff a little bit in the past, and now you're doing something that is more conventional, and something that probably will be liked by more people. And you're not focusing on, like, a niche kind of situation where you're, like, focusing on, like, getting, like, a small group of people that's gonna that's going to idolize you. And this is maybe what she wants, because that idolization from a small group will grow and become like kind of like a cult thing. Like, you know, I don't know what I'm saying, but like that sometimes it's just cooler to have like this, like to be true to your art and do whatever you want to do whatever you think is cool, and then maybe only a small group of people will like it at first, but then that group of people will grow and grow and grow. But if you do something that is going to be liked by everyone, then it's not going to have the same kind of impact, because everybody's just going to read it and like it, but it might not be something that's going to be memorable in their mind. It's not going to change their point of view. It's not going to have like the impact that you could have on the world if you did something with and used your originality, used your edginess, used your creative humor, like your dark and morbid sense of humor, and shocked people. And I think she likes the shock value that you can create. Like you could easily get people get people on the edge of their seat and really just make people laugh at the absurdity and of life, like and really put people into a state of mind where they actually think about their own existence, and they're like, because she sees you as very, very smart, and sees you, like your mother sees you as someone who can actually do something philosophical as well, like write something that's fun but also philosophically interesting, so that you can actually get like right on the map, like if you wanted to, like get a really get a position in one of the, like I think she just sees you as someone who could actually start your own art form, or start your own start your own ism, like, you know, I don't know, with ism, I mean like Darwin has started Darwinism, like, or like that it's rooted towards, like, you know, and like all those big names that have like isms behind them, like that's one of the biggest ways of paying somebody respect, is by creating an ism on their work, like, and I think your mother actually sees you as someone who could get an ism, like an ism based on something you're going to do, like where you could start a movement, you could start a whole like a whole new art form that will be because I just think she feels like you have like some, like you have always had this inspiration that she never knew where it came from, and so she always just imagined like you must get it from some, like you must have a very big role to play in this world, since you're getting inspiration from somewhere that is not from her, and not something that you learned in school, and not something you learned from movies, but it's coming from you, like some kind of source that you have always had. And she just wants you to really embrace that and not get into doing anything that everybody wants you to do, or like something that would give you a lot of likes on social media, but something that is true to who you are and and the inspiration that you're getting, if that makes sense. But yeah, but I think that's all I have for you, group number 4. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, Please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye!